I will go even a step further and say, I think there is
please
a
do.
difference between niceness and kindness.
I agree.
Very kind person. I don't know if the average person on the street would say I'm particularly nice.
Wait, you guys.
Cyrus Veyssi, welcome to Nice Talk.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing great. The book is out. I think I'm really starting to experience the fruits of a lot of labor that I put in the past few years, so I'm feeling good. I did just run 15 blocks, y'all. New York is not for the weak. In heels and a partially sprained ankle, but we made it.
But you made it.
I'm really excited.
I'm so happy to have you here. I mentioned the book at the top, but just working on something like this really makes me think about the power of affirmations and journaling, and I'm really excited to talk to you about that today. So before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about you. I read that you started your career in marketing and PR, and so I want to know how you went from that to becoming an incredible, famous content creator.
It was wild. Okay, so my background was when I graduated from college, I moved to New York and I was like, I'm going to give myself 3 months to see what happens. I applied to 1,000 roles. I think I cold DM'd Drew Elliott and the marketing team at Paper. And I was like, I just need a job. I'll do anything. And they did. They offered me a job at Paper. So I started out in the editorial side of things. And then a couple months later, I got this position in PR at a brand marketing agency that I took. And I was so bad at it. After 6 months, I was just like, this is not for me. And long story short, what I did was I pitched a position that didn't exist at a traditional PR firm, which was a digital strategist that was embedded into culture, right? Instagram is really starting to pop off. This was 7 years ago. I built out a position. I pitched it to the CEO. She said yes. And I had this role that I created. And then during the pandemic, I just started to create little beauty and skincare videos. And the way that my career really took off was with one viral video with my dad. Basically, one of the beauty videos that I made went semi-viral. I think it got 6,000 views, which for me at the time was
incredible,
viral. Yeah. And then someone had commented, oh, so you're Persian, you're queer, and you're non-binary. What age did your dad leave you? And I was like, okay.
Right.
I was funny because my dad took this video. So we made a video in response to that comment showing how supportive my dad is. And I woke up and it had 11 million views in less than 24 hours. From there, I just realized what I could do and the power of storytelling and the power of comedy and humor.
11 million views.
11 million in
Were
less
you
than, it was crazy.
Shit.
I was like, but also I had put my phone away. And the funny thing is we recorded it, we looked at the video and I was like, I'm not going to post this. I had accidentally posted it, saw it go, and I was like, no one's going to see this.
Yeah, it's fine.
That happened to be the video. It's crazy how that, people tell these stories and that's really what had happened. I was like, first of all, I spent 3 hours doing a beauty look and I'm scraping for 50 likes. And then I'm making a silly 15-second video with my dad. So it showed me a lot about what for me would be the catalyst of my career. Having a social presence online was not originally what I had thought would happen if I ever did pursue having a social media public personality online. It was completely different.
I mean, you've talked about how, you don't have sort of the typical immigrant parent experience. You don't have that. It seems that's a blessing, right? For you, that's incredible. I'm curious though, when it came to talking about career paths and that sort of thing, and I can 100% relate. My parents are from Nigeria, moved here in the 70s. It was very much like doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Oh yeah, 100.
It's funny how it just that's the same across.
We say the same thing, and then doctor, mohandes, and then lawyer. Yeah, exactly. It's that's it. It's those four.
That's it. For you though, what was it like having those conversations with your parents about going into a different career path? Were they immediately supportive?
You know what's interesting? They were supportive of a creative field because they both went to art school. So my parents were also of a mentality that as long as you're doing something that you're passionate about and that pays your bills, you're good. So naturally, when I was like, I want to quit my job and do this social media thing, my dad it wasn't that he wasn't supportive. I don't think he understood the business model.
Totally. I mean, who does?
Who did? I still don't know how this works. I was like, I still don't know how this works.
Yeah.
No, I do, but it was, so that conversation was interesting. What I had to do was I had to show him what a sustainable career would look like. We all had to fight against a lot of the culture, gossip, stigma around influencers and like the influencer world and showcase it as a business.
How did you do that in practice though?
It was really hard.
What did that look like? Yeah.
I think for me, it was really emphasizing that if I was going to be a creator, I was going to bring a consulting background in with me. Like those 7 years at that brand marketing agency was not going to go to waste. And I think not only did it offer, I think on the business side of things, a leg up for me from a brand perspective because I knew what brands wanted. I know how to submit content on time.
Right.
Like I have that brand mentality. So that was really helpful.
Yeah.
My dad, I think, started to see that I could fuse those two. And then listen, like my first paycheck, I was like, this is double what I was making. I was like, so I think showing him the prosperity of it was huge.
Yeah.
And then I told myself once I was able to make my salary double that, I would leave. And I did.
Okay.
Yeah. It was really hard because, again, I was leaving what I was so used to.
Yeah.
But I had so much fuel behind me and I had so many projects in mind that I, at that point, was like, I'm not going to be able to do this if I don't fully commit to it. It's going to look half-assed. It's going to look so, it's not going to be the vision that I want for it.
I want to take a step back and talk about the first video with your dad that did go viral, 11 million views. You said you sort of like accidentally posted the video, but I'm curious, what was it, do you think, about the content that like people really resonated with so deeply?
I think because it was so multifaceted in those 13 seconds. There was so much to it because it was a satirical video leaning into this trope about how queer people and their parents can't be friends. Mm-hmm. For my image copy, I wrote, I created the series Bonding with My Straight Dad. Yeah. The irony of it being that I'm so close with him that I'm sort of, again, leaning into the stereotype, which I think a lot of people could resonate with. Still, to this day, the reason why people love that series is because they love to see queer people win and they love to see a positive example that is almost like an FU to all the bullies and an FU to all the people who have said that we can't have positive relationships with our parents and we can't change people's minds. I mean, that's what it is too, right? I think on both sides of the coin, we're so happy that we get to represent this positive dynamic, but we can't ignore the reality that is a lot of people don't have that type of support. So I think what actually people love the most is that they see the version of their parent if they were supportive and they see my Baba as their Baba. Yeah. I think that's why people love it too. And that's what we say. He's everyone's. If you don't have a supportive dad, he plays the role for it for you.
I love that.
You know, I think that's why people really resonate with it.
Yeah. Did your dad know what he was stepping into?
He was like, I had to go. We did a literal TikTok 101. It was like 3 hours of me just sitting down and explaining. I don't think he understood his impact even after seeing the metrics. Yeah. I think he saw his impact when he told me he was walking on the street right outside of Boston, where my parents are. And in a random coffee shop that he's been at every day, someone stopped and was like, oh, you're Baba. And he was like, how does she know who I am? He was
I am Baba.
Who are you? Very like, who is this woman? Yeah. And I think that's when he realized his impact and how big it had gotten. The funny thing is people come to me and they'll be like, hi. And I'll be like, I love your dad. And I'm like, great, I'll tell him. No, it's like really, do you know what I mean? Like, I think that is really when he saw how big it had become. It had become a global phenomenon. He'd become a global phenomenon.
That is so wild. Incredible. Especially like, you know, at his age, like to have this sort of like second coming or whatever, you know, it's really cool.
It's exactly that. I feel like he also has tapped in to a lot of his like younger self and a lot of his playfulness and a lot of his joy that he did not have during the revolution when both of my parents had to leave the country. Both of them came to America with nothing. I mean, and what they had grown up in a very prosperous environment in Iran. They all lost. Yeah. Everyone lost during the revolution. Yeah. Seeing that part of him reignite is something that has been one of the most gratifying things of my career. Through the highs and lows, that seeing that part of it has been, and also with my brother and with my mom too, but it's a second wind. Like what you said, it really feels that way.
I always think it's like really lovely when you get to see people's sort of interior worlds, like really, and feel like you can relate to them. And then because TikTok can feel, or social media can feel like such an own world or platform of its own, that like when you can see it outside, like when your dad is spotted at the coffee shop or whatever, it's like, oh, this is important. This is impactful. Like where you're really doing something, you know?
I always thought about when I worked with creators on the other side of things too, and I found creators that I found impactful, their impact to me was evident online and offline. Like I think for me, that has been a major bar that I have set for myself as someone who does content creation for a living. I want that impact to be felt offline. I want people to take those conversations with them to their families. Huge reason why I wrote the book. Like all of these reasons why I wanted people to feel the impact of myself, my dad, and what we do in a very granular way every day. And that has been a challenge, truly, with social media.
What I think is amazing is that you've been able to grow your following to over 3 million followers across, you know, all of these different platforms. And you have these other characters, like you have Bougie Gay Uncle.
I do.
What have you found is the best part, would you say, about having this platform?
The best part about having this platform is proving to myself that a lot of the negative feedback and the hate that I used to get, and even, you know, folks in my career when I started out who told me this isn't going to work for you or this isn't going to happen, I proved them wrong. And I think that's a really gratifying feeling. I know it's very self-indulgent to feel that that is the biggest impact, but it is. And I think my entire life, I've always just had this negative connotation with comedians, because I always saw comedians as like really unfunny white dudes with mics that I'd be like, you're not funny. You're just loud. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not making me laugh. But then I was like, oh, no, we've been lied to. Like, I'm a comedian and I make people laugh. That's gratifying. I mean, I think like Bougie Gay Uncle fits into that really well, because Bougie Gay Uncle is that like hilarious, very like rich bitch character who you always wanted in your life. Like I never had a Bougie
Gay. How did that come together?
I just like, to be honest, it was twofold. One, like I love the world of luxury. Like I really do. And I worked in fashion and I had some roles that my mother, she was a huge fashion inspiration to me. She was always like everybody's like bougie gay auntie, bougie straight auntie. Not, listen, you never know. It's a spectrum. No, she was always the bougie auntie in everyone's life. I also think that I wanted to showcase that queer people, people of color can enjoy nice things and can shop and can be maybe a motivation for showcasing that if I had listened to all of the people who told me I wouldn't do it, I would not be in this Chanel store right now, affording my life. Vapid as it may sound, it's more than the material things. It was this image that I wanted to create of move past the things that people are telling you that you can't do and create a version that works for yourself. Luxury brands in fashion for a really long time, as you know, it's very difficult to build those relationships with them. I do beauty and skincare. Fashion is very different. And I did not want to do this sort of like on the street posing with it's not me. So Bougie Gay Uncle also became the conduit to my relationship with fashion brands and how I wanted to create stories around pieces and do it my way. And it cost me certain relationships that the brands are like, this is not our image and this is not our ethos. That's fine. But for other brands, it is. And I think the bonus was just, it became this character that so many people resonated with and has now just become such a pivotal part of my platform. And honestly, like I've channeled a lot of Bougie Gay Uncle in my own life.
I'm curious, with this big of a platform though, what would you say is like the hardest or the worst part?
I'm going to be just very transparent. Realizing what you're willing to sacrifice for the sake of success. And that's a really...
What do you mean by that?
I, for a really long time, felt like all of my actions aligned with my values. Every one of them. Every brand that I worked with. And then what started to happen was I grew. And I had some massive opportunities come to me with entities and corporations, maybe not even the brands, maybe even with people with the brands whose politics I didn't align with. And I was looking at an opportunity that would catapult me and I thought to myself, okay, this is just a means to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Or I say no and my actions align with my values. Truly the most difficult thing is living with the fact that I've had to compromise that sometimes.
Oh,
and that's
interesting.
really tough.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought you were going to say like that the hard thing is to walk away from the money, which I'm sure is also difficult.
I have had between all of us now, there have been offers that were firm no's that even I think my team was like, are you sure? And I'm like, but we all align. And I think I've never said yes to anything that I knew would long-term compromise me. But I think it's very difficult to have ethical consumption under capitalism in general.
Yes. Yeah.
We're out here. The hardest thing actually has been to live with decisions that I have made for the sake of building my career on a mass level. I don't regret them. I have to live with it. And when I have, I've had followers and people come to me and say, hey, like, this brand has been problematic. 3 years ago, there was this thing against, X, Y, and Z, and they're not wrong. Yeah. And that's the thing is it's not about being defensive. It's about me understanding and knowing that this industry it's a very difficult to navigate it the way that like my social justice warrior self did when I was in college and I was a soc major and I was like, I'm going to work outside of the systems. It's been really difficult to navigate that and find a balance.
100%. I think what's really hard is when you get to a point in your career when you start understanding how businesses work and how systems work and systems that you have not built and have not been built for you work. Yeah. What you're supposed to do inside of those.
Yeah. Because it's like tricky. And I love my PR team. I'm very media trained. So I can't also DM this person and be like, girl, let me just make this bag. Or like, I'm taking money from this man. Yeah. If you think about like, I'm working, because that's not an appropriate response.
Exactly.
I think another way that I would answer your question, I think the hardest thing is I was fine with being public, even having thousands and thousands of hate comments. I was ready for that. I was prepared. I was not, when people talk about my family, it crosses a line that is really hard to navigate because I don't want to not share them. Yeah. But we've just had to create more boundaries.
Yes.
I'm fine with what anybody says about me. And luckily I haven't seen a lot of hate comments at all towards my family, but the few that I have, it ignites something very scary in me that I don't want to unleash because it's not what they signed up for. It's what I signed up for.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
So that's hard.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think, when I look at friends who are being, asked to go on various reality TV shows, all of the things, I'm like, okay, sure, it's you, but also your whole family will get dragged into this. 100%. And then are you ready for that to be sort of like on prime time as well?
And it will be. Yeah. Like it is now especially. Like it takes 2 seconds to find someone. And I think like I definitely sacrificed a major part of my social life. Because when I was working my full-time job, I had my 9 to 5 and then I would film at night. But then the weekends, I had to film more in order to be able to consistently post every day. And the people who I love and my closest friends have stuck by me. And now obviously my schedule is very different. But I lost some friendships that I don't want to use the word regret, but that I really wish it wasn't that way. Yeah. And it was on me. And I understand.
And it was on you.
Yeah, it was on me. Yeah, it was
on
me. A lot of it was just again, I was sacrificing a lot for my career. And that's why I don't regret it. But a really hard part of it was just, I no longer had proximity to people from a timing perspective that I really cared for. Yeah. And I was not willing to sacrifice it because I was so focused on this career. And I'm really glad that I've done what I've done. But it's like a side effect that really sucked.
Yeah, the social circle. I understand that. The social circle gets smaller.
And then also, like, I'm sure you know this. It's like we go out and like we network and we schmooze, and that is a huge part of the job. And sometimes I'm like, I have no gas left. Like I'm an extroverted person, but I'm like the few evenings that I have and I have a partner and I have a dog. I'm like, I want to spend with them, or I want to see my brother. Like those tertiary friends and those secondary friends who I still love, I haven't had time for. And that is really hard. Yeah. That's been a really hard part of this whole thing.
You mentioned that you were ready for the hate comments, for the mean comments.
Yes.
How did you ready yourself for that?
I think I had a lot of practice in high school.
Okay.
So I had already
lived experience.
Yeah, I would say the first few months were.
But it's an onslaught on social. And one of the reasons I'm like, this creator life is not for me. Like, you can't talk to me crazy.
And the bigger you get, the more it comes in.
Yeah.
I will say I've gotten to the point where like it's very rare for someone to say something to me that I haven't heard. Okay. And actually in those moments I'm like, that was actually kind of creative. I was like, I haven't heard that in a while. Yeah, like I give you some props for really putting in effort. I have reached a point of peace with myself. And I think the reason why is because a lot of times when people are really bullied when they're younger, like I was in high school, and the isolated experiences that I had, I never had the experience of placing my value onto other people. The words they don't impact me. But what I've done, and I talk a lot about this now, is I think there's a difference between something affecting you and something impacting you. And the example that I give is someone leaves me a hate comment about my glam. Affecting means I feel the words and it hurts. And then impacting is almost like step 2. It's taking the video down. I'm no longer at impact. I'm still at effect. Mm-hmm. It's especially when a piece of content goes viral, and I've had some pretty tough moments where I've had alt-right
jump to the other side. And like, oh no.
Yeah. I'm like, Fox News once retweeted something that I did, a campaign that I did, and that did not end well. But so it affects me because I'm human, but I don't take the photo down and I don't delete the comments. I think I've gotten to the point where I tell people, I'm like, let things affect you because you're human, but impact is almost like an action item. And I don't do that part anymore. And how
do you choose what to respond to, though? Because sometimes you do respond.
If it's a ridiculous comment about coming from a man, I don't respond through empathy. I respond through comedy.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my tactic. If it's a man, I sort of will just use the comment as fodder or as like a bait to talk about my lip combo or to, just be ridiculous and weird. If it comes from a woman, I think I try and extend more empathy in general. And I come at it with, sometimes I'll post a response and I'll talk a lot about like how when someone comes to my page and what they're trying to do is trigger my trauma, I'm like, you're just revealing your own. It's empathy when it comes through mostly women or even queer people and trans people. And again, I give the benefit of the doubt to everyone, men, women, but I think I just have a lot more fun when it's men because I'm like, you have a bit of a leg up and that's fine. And we can, and you guys are, it's just a joke, right? Like a lot of the time I'm like, I'm not serious. I'm like, okay.
Right. Or you said something silly and now I said something silly.
Like if it triggers you, then like, I don't know, don't dish it out if you can't take it. Totally.
It's not that deep.
It's really not that deep. Like kind of a snowflake. Like I'm not really, do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm like, listen, if you dish it, take it.
Yeah.
At least take it. That is how I approach things. I use this analogy that I posted about last week that I think really helped people because they're like, I don't understand how you choose to not let something even impact you. And I'm like, when you were a kid and there was an ice cream truck and you really wanted ice cream, you had 3 minutes to get there, right? Come leave. So if you're running, then you trip and you stub your toe. And you know that feeling where it hurts so bad that you could stop and hold it and squeeze it for a few minutes and it goes away, or you could just power through and limp. I limp to the ice cream truck because the ice cream truck for me is peace. And all these little moments where I stub my toe and someone pushes me and shoves me, I do not stop to acknowledge it. I feel it. And that again is the effect. It affects me. Like I'm like, my toe is about to fall off. But I'm getting to that mother effing ice cream truck. And that is an analogy that I think helped a lot of people realize those two things are true at once. They happen at the same time and you can just respond differently to them. But again, it's a practice. Confidence, it is 100% a muscle. I've worked on this since I was in my early teens when I came out. I've had a 15 years of experience of working on myself.
Yeah.
And it's not that way for a lot of people and you need to give yourself time.
Okay, I want to switch gears and I want to talk about your book. You wrote an incredible new affirmations journal. It's called Honey.
Yes.
What made you want to write it?
For the past year, I've realized really why I wrote it. And it was because since I started creating content, every other video that I'd create, I would get a dozen or two comments being like, oh my God, I wish I had this in a sticky note, or like, I wish I could like tattoo this on my body. And I kept being like, okay, that's extreme. But I was like, but I kept being like, people really do enjoy both the silly affirmations of like a reminder to delete your ex's number out of your phone because it's been 3 months, to like how important it is to be single instead of settling for someone that would make you crave your solitude, right? Like these two sides. And so the reason why I decided to write it was I just thought to myself, this is what people want. Like they want affirmations, and I didn't realize how bad people wanted them until I started to experiment with both sort of like comedic affirmations and then more serious affirmations. And then two, the reason why I made it into a journal was because for the longest time, I myself doubted the power of writing down affirmations and even journaling. Like I was like not that person. People would get me journals for like holidays, and I'd be like, I'm just not. I'm like, I can't. It's not. That was all in my head. When I started to write, I realized how important affirmations are to creating the version of yourself that you want. Manifesting is not enough, you guys. It's not. I always say it's like manifesting is the vehicle and affirmations are the fuel.
Okay.
That is the sort of dichotomy between those two things, which is why creating the affirmations book was without a doubt, I think, a priority for me when it came to soft launching my writing career.
So what does it look like? Like what can, when I pick it up or when somebody picks it up, like what can they expect from it?
Can I show you?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have it with me.
Please.
Okay. This is Honey. She's beautiful. It is 30 pages and it's
I love
30
it.
affirmations and then 30 blank pages for you to write your own. In Farsi, honey is asal. And when I was a kid, my mom and my dad, there is this little cove in the back of your neck that they call asal, which is the honey, which is the sweetest part of your body. So whenever I was in a bad mood or like whenever my dad and my mom just wanted to show me affection, they would kiss me and they'd ask for asal. Okay. So it was like a way of replenishing them. You know what I mean? It's like when you like overdrive, if you have a pet, like kiss them to death. You know what I mean? So that was, is where I started, and it's going to be part of an anthology. Okay. And I'm really excited because I think it's a project that I think the way that I will see affirmations will change, and I'm excited to bring people along the journey. And it's one of the things where it's like, if it works for you, it works for you. And I think that when people ask me about confidence and people ask me about mental health and how to navigate it, I'm not a professional, right? I don't have that background. All I can say is from what I've understood in my life, manifesting was not enough. This book has been such a life source for me, but I'm seeing people gift it to people that they love. I'm seeing people gift it to estranged family members. Someone actually DM'd me yesterday and was like, listen, like my parents, when I came out, they cut me off. And they emotionally, financially, everything. And they were really young. And she sent 2 copies to her parents. Wow. And she's like, I don't know what they'll do. I just wish peace for them. Wow. And I thought that was really powerful. Totally. And I think, I've had so many different ideas for writing projects, and I have some other fun projects in the works right now. But this is the way that I can help people now, every day. And I see it happening.
How did you choose which affirmations you put in the book?
Ooh, this was a fun process because I knew I wanted to start just with, I didn't want to overwhelm anyone. 30 affirmations for a month. Read one every day, write one every day, right? That was the purpose of this book. I started with about like 150 affirmations that in the final round, I worked with Britt Larson, who's this incredible creative graphic designer, and Gus Usselston, who produced and helped creative direct the book. And we all sat down and we were like, we need to come up with, for the first edition, we need to focus on simplicity. Because a lot of the affirmations that I had written, if there was context behind them, we knew that wouldn't work for this. We knew we had to save it for something else. So it had to go from simplicity to clarity. Like I have affirmations that are as simple as I am enough. And then I have affirmations that are a little bit more, there's a little bit more sauce. I do not need someone else's permission to find closure from the relationships I left in the past. And I thought that was really interesting because a lot of the times when someone's going through a breakup or when someone has a relationship with someone, it's always been like, I need this person to know. I need this person to hear me. And I'm like, sometimes that person's never going to. So you have to find the closure.
Yes.
You don't need their permission to do it. Sometimes you don't even have contact with them anymore.
Right. That is the closure.
I had a woman who reached out to me, and it's hard not to get emotional about it. She was having a really difficult time leaving a partner that had passed away, and was like, they never knew, and I didn't have closure. Sometimes you just don't have the other person to get that closure from and that permission from. And so the ones that we chose for this book, I also really just wanted to resonate, because we had written a lot that were very specific, and I was like, I could write an entire affirmations book for people of color. I could write an entire affirmations book for queer people.
You should.
And that is between
part 2 and 3.
Yeah, part 2 and 3. So how can I launch with something that a mother who is 60 in Minneapolis can read and resonate with, to a teen who is in high school and is having difficulty. And then now it's the joy of being able to have the creative process of what's next and how can I specify it. And of those 150, of the 120 that we haven't used, they're very much on the back burner. It's just like, how do I now create iterations of this book, which I'm really excited to, that can be a little bit more contextual.
You self-published.
I did.
Talk to me about that process and why.
Part of it was I want total creative freedom of this, and I'm willing to self-publish and self-fund and go out of pocket for this, project. And part of it, transparently, was I wanted to see how this would do. Yeah. I wanted to see how this would resonate with people. Maybe this wasn't going to be something that people wanted. Maybe this wasn't going to sell. It was like all of these questions that went through my mind, and I was like, I don't want to bring on a publisher and feel the guilt or like the stress of I need to sell. I'm like, I am too peaceful right now. Let me see how it does. Let me learn from it, use that as a case study to then bring other iterations to publishers and know it's going to work. And I'm so grateful that's how we did this. So people can find it exclusively on my website. Okay. So it's www.cyrusveyssi.com. And you can purchase a physical copy, which is only shipping in the US right now because it's been really difficult to find a fulfillment distribution company that can work through tariffs and can work through customs and can work through all of that.
Yeah.
But again, something that I've learned is I would say 75%, a good 3/4 of the inquiries that we're getting around the book are from international folks being like, I want the physical copy, because we have digital copies that you can get as well. So that is a good learning. It has been, on the website, promoting it, doing the marketing. It's very different for me to talk about a $15 lipstick or a mascara that I know people are going to sell out. The book is different because, again, sometimes I've also realized that people are not ready to commit yet, or people are not in the space where that is something that they want to do. And we're really lucky that we're almost completely sold out, I would say, with the physical copies. It was like once a piece of content hit, that's when I would see sales in the book.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is just a marketing thing.
Yeah.
It really is at the end of the day. Or they're like, wait, I still literally got a comment last night around like 9 p.m. from someone on a random video being like, oh, you should totally write an affirmations book. And I was like, I did. I was like, you guys, I swear I'm trying to market. I'm marketing this. So the struggle of that consistent level of marketing around the book is hard.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to have you on at the top of the year, though, because I do think that it's a time when people are like, they have that energy again, right? They're like, I want to try something new. I want to turn it around, whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think or do you have a favorite affirmation for this time of the year that people can lean into?
If I'm just thinking of an affirmation off the top of my head, because I am someone who feels very overwhelmed when it comes to like New Year resolutions, commit to one, archive the rest. Don't get rid of them. Archive the rest. Do one thing and do it really well. So that is probably the affirmation that I would say in terms of not overwhelming yourself. I would also say, I will not let anyone mistake my kindness for stupidity.
Ooh.
That is something that I struggle with all the time. Because when you're a kind person, people sometimes think you're stupid and that they can, no, Cyrus is kind. Like, they're never going to know. Or like, let's just do this and ask them to do this at the event and go around their team. And I'm not stupid.
Yes.
I want you to remember that, especially going into this new year. If you're a kind person, never let anyone mistake that for that you can't stand your ground or that you also can't turn on the business side, the serious side, right? Like, I don't know if you experience this, I'm sure you do too, but people are like, just because I'm nice does not mean that I don't know where to draw the line.
Well, and I will go even a step further and say, I think there is a difference between niceness and kindness. I am a very kind person. I don't know if the average person on the street would say I'm particularly nice, but I am an extremely kind feeling person.
I could not resonate more. We're writing this in the next one. We're gonna unpack the difference because this is true. They're different. 100%. Yeah. And I have met people who are very nice, but they're not kind. It's different. I have met very, very, very nice people. I've had really pleasant experiences with them, but they're not kind. And they're different.
And that's the joke about like being a New Yorker, living in New York. Like we are a very kind people.
Very kind. I think New Yorkers are so kind.
Yeah.
Fucking nice. They're different.
Yes.
And I prefer kind.
Yes. I prefer completely agree. Props to you.
Thank you.
All of that you've created is so incredible.
Thank you.
I've loved speaking to you. And I want to know, like, what else can we and the audience who's listening, watching, what should we be looking out for from you?
Yes. Okay. So this year, if you loved the Affirmations book, stay tuned because there's more of that coming. I'm really excited because I have, for the past year, been getting back into auditioning, which is really exciting because I was a performer. I mean, I did performing arts for 16 years. I did local shows. I did professional shows in Boston. And growing up, I had my equity card and I did a lot of theater in college as well. And so dipping my toes into that is really exciting.
That's so exciting.
To do some really fun comedy in some mediums that, you may not have seen yet. So stay tuned for that. And then also I have some personal products that are happening and in the works that I'm really excited about. So a lot of like fun, just like creative work that has taken years. I'm seeing the fruits of that labor.
Okay, so but before I let you go,
yes, tell me.
We always like to end the podcast with a quick lightning round about money, style, and power.
Love.
So I'll ask you 3 questions and you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Okay, number 1 is, what's one thing money can't buy?
Time. Time on this earth to a certain extent. Money can't buy the moment back. And never let anyone tell you that it can't, because if they are, they're probably very rich. And they probably came from money. Money can change your life.
Yes.
But it can't give you the moment back.
If you could trade closets with anyone, who would it be and why?
I have to say Jordan Roth. I've looked up to them so much.
Oh, yes.
I met them once recently.
Okay, that is a good one.
I met them recently at an event and was trying not to fangirl. I just see so much of the bougie gay uncle in them. And I'm so inspired by their work and the art and the passion and the creativity and the thoughtfulness that they bring into fashion. And I've seen some of the archives. I've seen some of the closet. I would kill to just play dress up.
Last question is, what's your go-to song when you want to feel powerful?
I want to feel powerful. I have been playing a lot of SZA and specifically Conceited.
Ooh,
that song is the first song on like my glam playlist. And it just starts off with a bang. I also find a lot of confidence and power and joy in Jasmine Sullivan and Cynthia Erivo's music and I don't know, in Whitney. Like Whitney was the first artist that when my parents came to America, they listened to. I would say, I think for me, R&B makes me feel very powerful. It's the music that I grew up listening to. Recently, Berghain by Rosalia. That song gives me full body chills. I've like walked the streets of New York to that song just with in the background. Oh my, incredible.
I love it. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me on Nice Talk today. It's been great.
I want all of you to know, since you started this podcast, and my team knows this, it's been truly a dream to come on. And I have
Thank
talked about
you.
this and I've wanted to come on for a while. So thank you for having me.
This was the perfect moment to have you on. I've admired your career for a very long time
Thank
as
you.
well.
The feeling's very mutual.
So happy to have you
Thanks
here.
for having me. Happy New Year, everyone.
Sure.